So Dermot, I was telling Kira on your website, when I click on tour dates, nothing comes up. I got concerned that maybe something had been canceled.
Seriously, no way.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. No, everything's good. It's full steam ahead. I mean, for everything we've got planned, which I'm very sort of lucky to get to say right now.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time. Where are you right now?
Of
I
course.
think you mentioned off air Buffalo.
Yeah, we're in Buffalo today. We played a show in Cincinnati last night. Got the final show of the tour in Boston tomorrow, and so today I'm just doing nothing. It's lashing rain too, so I'm guilt free.
Are you in a tour bus? I can't figure out your surroundings.
I'm on the bus. Yeah. I'm down the back of the bus. Yeah.
Wow, we're on a real rock and roll tour bus with Dermot Kennedy.
yeah.
Well, Dermot, some folks have spent the lockdown taking up hobbies, learning how to bake, but you've been really busy. I read somewhere that you've written like 80 new songs. Why has it been so important for you to stay so busy?
I mean, it's kind of, I think it's a combination of something very simple and then my ambition, I guess. And in terms of what's simple, it's just like the whole pandemic sort of stripped things back to being quite simple for me, where I was just like, I felt like an artist again. You know what I mean? I wanted to make music. That's I don't know. It's just it stripped everything back. It was like, okay, you can't go on tour, you can't go be in fancy studios, you can't do all this sort of stuff. So it's kind of a little bit of a call out to see if you're still who you were when you started, I think. And so for me, I just had a lot of songs to write. And then as things sort of eased gradually, I've been in the studio, say in London, LA, New York, wherever it needs to be. And just been busy. Yeah. And so what I mean is, yeah, I just wasn't willing to lose whatever momentum I had worked so hard for. You know, I think I wasn't willing to let that whole break that all us artists had to take. I wasn't willing to let that sort of slow me down, you know?
I'm curious, when you're in a lockdown and you're spending time with just a very few people, if any other humans, and you're not going out much, what's your inspiration for a song? How do you come up with ideas?
Yeah, good question. I mean, obviously you're not having many experiences, but there is a lot more time for contemplation. Like I gotta say, like when you're on tour, the schedule gets so packed that you're just like, I don't know, there's not much room for new creative thoughts, I find. And then, so when you're at home, you got nothing but time to think, right? And there's so much time to think about things, think about certain memories. It was a lovely time to kind of digest everything that had happened in the last 2 to 3 years and different shows we'd done, all the progress we'd made. And so honestly, it was quite a positive time for me. I know that sounds like a very sort of privileged thing to say in the midst of a pandemic, but for me personally, it was like I needed a break, I think.
You're not the first artist I've spoken to that has said almost that exact same thing, that it was just, they did not want to take a break from touring, but they didn't want to do it, but they did not realize at the time that they really needed it. And that break has been very beneficial creatively.
Yeah, it's full on. Like it really is. And yeah, like it's exactly that. Like I could have kept going, but I don't know, just when you get that break, you realize like I said, it was nice. It reminded me when I was 18 and I had nothing going on and I was just at home all the time and I knew music was my sole obsession, but I couldn't go do it and back then it was because no one would book me. But last year it was just because you couldn't, and it was a welcome sort of like slowing down.
Let's talk about the new single, Better Days. The song opens with the lyrics, "Better days are coming." I'm gotta assume this was written about COVID.
I mean, no. So this song, I like, don't get me wrong, like it's a happy accident, but this song, for me, the perspective we actually started with was this, because the third line in the song is, "For 7 years running, you've been a soldier." And I've had people kind of question me on that and blah blah blah, and it's like this song started out as almost like a message to myself, and the scene that was in my head was even like, say, my parents, for example, like reassuring me that music would work out and that I should like not give up on what I'm doing because blah blah blah, because things will get there and you shouldn't lose hope. And so I think one of the great things about being a songwriter and getting to bring music to the world is that situation can apply to so many people, right? Like no matter what situation you're in, if you need to just hold on to the idea that things will improve, then it's just a valuable idea. And yeah, of course, like I get how it relates to current times. And I like how it just says better days are coming if no one told you, because and I've loved singing that line every night, because I think there's been, I don't know, there's just been a lot of scary headlines, and there's been a lot of people who've been sort of stuck in their homes and in a place where it's very easy for their mind to run away with itself. And I think not a lot of people are being told that things are getting better. And I think that's just something, like, even if it's just blind optimism, sometimes it's just a helpful thing, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I know you were one of the performers at this summer's Lollapalooza in the Chicago area. Was that your first big show since the pandemic?
Yeah, pretty much. We played, our first gig back was Nashville, which was a few thousand people. Then we played a headline show in Chicago, which was 5,000, and then Lollapalooza was like, who knows, like it's sort of like just a mass of people. And yeah, that was the big one to come back to. And I don't know, honestly, man, like it feels like we took like 2 days off. It's crazy. Like it feels
Wow.
like we literally just like got back on stage. It was so far from the feeling I expected. And that's not to say it was disappointing. It was just like it felt like we were just doing it again.
I know you're on tour now. What are you seeing from the fans? Because what little I've done outside, I was in Vegas when the first lockdowns kind of were lifted, and people are just
Right.
ready to have fun. And I'm assuming that's what you're seeing at your shows. People are just embracing the music like never before, I would think.
Yeah, I think so. And it's this interesting thing where I'm having the same set of emotions on stage, right? But it's kind of, and not to be sort of high and mighty, but it's kind of my job to like control the feeling in the room, and I need to sort of be solid, I guess. And so it's this interesting like exchange of emotions. And then also, say for example, we played in Grand Rapids in Michigan the other day, and that was the first show back in that venue. And that's where we went home from last year in March
Uh,
2020. And my name was still on the venue from the show last year.
whoa.
And so you're playing there and it's their first show back. Whereas in Nashville, they've been going to shows for a while. So it's this thing where people are quite comfortable and blah, blah, blah. And so you're dealing with like a varying level of emotion and excitement and everything. And yeah, it's just people just seem, I guess, grateful, to be back doing stuff. I know,
Yeah.
being from Ireland, like it's a much slower process there, and there's certain like it's really poor how it's being rolled out in terms of like just info for the arts in Ireland in terms of when live music can come back and stuff. There's just zero information, or so it seems. I know I'm away, but like it's just, I know people at home are dying to just
Mm.
go see music, and the vaccination rate in Ireland is so high, and it just feels like that's long overdue.
When's the last time you were home?
Oh dear, I would say I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. And it's not that long ago. It's not crazy. It's just I can't
Yeah.
remember. I think I did a 6-week trip to London in the studio. Then I was home for 2 weeks, and then I've been in America since what is it now? Late August. I've been in America since like late June, I think. I think. Yeah.
Dermot, a lot of folks are wondering when we might see a new album. And if you wrote 80 songs during the lockdown, you got plenty of material to choose from. How on earth do you whittle it down to 12, 14 songs or 8 or 10 songs for an album when you've got all that material?
You just know, I think. You just know. I think the ones that deserve to exist, you just know on the day. You're like, this is important and this fits. And as you go on, I think I think there's potential to be kind of like, you get to the point where it's just you can't even sort of, you don't even know what's going on because you got so many songs, so many voices in your head, blah blah blah, and you could lose creative perspective. But I think the opposite has happened. And I think when you say you have 50 songs and then you have one special day in the studio, you're just like, oh, I know what's already valuable and I know this one can live with them. I think it's surprising how clear it is. And so yeah, I think I'm at that point now where I have the songs and it's about deciding how the album should sound. That's one of the things I'm most proud of from the first album, is that I feel like I left it in such a place that if this was a if the second album was entirely acoustic and ballads, which it won't be, that would be fine. And if it was all heavy production, that would be fine too. I feel quite proud of the fact that I'm in a creative space where I can kind of do what I want to do.
Dermot, I know you have a show tonight. I want you to rest your voice. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Nice
You're
one. Yeah,
always
you're good.
very, very generous with your time here in Portland. You've performed in our live studio many times, and I cannot thank you enough. Enjoy the rest of the tour. Enjoy your rainy afternoon in Buffalo. Go get some chicken wings,
Nice
for
one.
heaven's sakes.
Yeah, I will do. Nice one.
Dermot, take care of yourself. Stay safe. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks so much. Talk to you later.
Okay.